There's one character who doesn't dominate the tier list, but dominates one specific part of that tier list, the top tiers. Axl may lose to Gold Lewis and struggles against Ram, but besides that, it's almost like he hunts the other top tiers. Like he's after him, like he's some type of natural hunter. Also, a good chunk of the roster just have a really bad time with him, finding it very difficult to fight in general. Axl is a top tier hunter that ain't top tier. What's up fellas, Panda here. If you guys enjoy these breakdowns, be sure to like, hype and sub, but let's get into it by looking at what makes him so scary in the first place. That neutral. I mean, what do I need to say? He's definitely got some of the best neutral pokes in the game, there's no denying that. Tools like 5p, 6k, 2h, you name it, are very good at contesting the spaces that Axl needs contested in that amount of time. And off of counter hit, you can certainly convert and get some decent hits, so these buttons are scary if you have to play a jump in game to actually get anything started. And then 2H is scary for those grounded characters that need to approach. And then you've got tools like 2P that give no form of hit farms or easy combos, but it lets them check certain matchups very quickly, like Leo Whitefang for example, or Potemkin. And being in the air, he's got two very fantastic buttons that have been nerfed to hell but are still heavily good to represent. JS being one of the jumping tools that are good for either getting in, backing up, either or. This is the spacing tool that you have to respect. You can 6p it and you can challenge it, however it does require you to be on your toes. And another jump in that requires you to be on your toes? JH. JH isn't that fast and it's not even that strong, but what makes it good is the fact that Axl can jump instantly and then press JH, meaning you have to react to this within a split second. This is a nasty RPS to be put into, as the JH can lead to more stagger offense, and doing a late 6p will lead to a counter hit. So that JH is pretty nasty for getting started when he wants to just jump in and go hog wild. Not to mention he holds down ground space very well with his special tools. Looking at Renson, the RPS on that could be pretty nasty. The low coming out in 7 frames, so if you're close and you're not ready for the vacuum, you can get caught. The explosion being plus means that you have to try and preemptively avoid it, but then he can send the explosion earlier to catch you go for a jump or a mash or a reflect. You get the point, a lot of these tools can be covered by looking out for a specific thing. Oh, you went for the jump? Pulls you down to air. The Renson RPS has a good answer for every scenario, and that's what makes it scary. If you have to block the Renson or you get caught by it, you gotta be ready for the next thing. In neutral, he has very good avoidance. He's really good at just playing back and avoiding a lot of the tools that you can represent as a player. If he doesn't want to contest you on that grounded space, he can backdash it to JS, you know, jump backdash JS, keep doing stuff like that. If he doesn't want to contest you in the air, you go for jumping JP that has absurd reach, and that'll just stop you in the air-to-air game plan. Mix that with Snail, which is a really fast attack that covers space. Even though it's super minus, it's able to stop you going for those approaches very quickly. And not to mention Rainwar, one of the avoidance tools, as he jumps back, is plus on block and will keep you in pressure afterwards. The only way to deal with this is to make a preemptive jump, but if you're doing that, you lose to everything else. So it's a pretty nasty tool if you're not ready for it. And not to mention one of his best set play tools, depending on the matchup, Whistling Winds. This tool looks pretty mid in general, but if you have to go against like a Giovanna for example, or a character kinda like me, they need to respect this. This is a very strong tool. As he's able to just send it, it's very active. You go for a jump in, he denies that. You go for the approach through, he denies that. And if you get hit, he gets a full conversion. It's quite nasty. So his neutral is by far one of the nastiest ones to get by depending on your character. You can see how all these different things can make it absurd for you to approach or even fight. And then looking at his offense, it's nothing insane, but there are some things that could definitely trip you up. Like mentioned before, he has great jump in pressure with that JH, being able to stagger away with the JHs or going to the JD to deny a 6p afterwards. Or do a landing 2k that's very fast. You get the point, his jump-ins are quite nasty with a ton of staggered offense. And the command grab getting turned into a low meaty guard crush that vacuums and his plus on block is absurd. This is by far one of the best meaty tools in the game right now. Next to tools like Garuda, it's really good. The best way to deal with it is the FD on block, but doing that will lead you being further away from Axl, but you don't want to be closer to him as he's plus 3 and can set whatever RPS he wants. So it's nasty. Do you take the RPS or do you try to back up and get into even more BS neutral? And what makes it really good as well is that a lot of players are used to jumping on reaction as soon as it's active. The problem with that, you still want to jump it, but if you mistime that jump, it'll catch your jump frames and is a low, giving him a full cross-a-bomba from the good old Kaniku man as he hits you with the next clothesline. His meaties are really good for pressure. This is a scary meaty to deal with as he's able to just go hog wild. There isn't really an answer for this if you get caught. And if you want even more meaty pressure, he's obviously got the whistling winds. Like we mentioned before, for some matchups, this is hell. The whistling winds allow him to kind of set up even more jump-in pressure that's unavoidable, or try to go for a strike throw afterwards. His throw isn't scary, but it's still something he can do. He really bullies those with stubby or slow movement. And then when you move on to his last thing that's worth mentioning, is 5D. Now his 5D isn't anything crazy until you realise how far it reaches. This catches me off guard every time. When he has a bar a meter, it's basically going to land every time, and he has a full combo that he can do afterwards. As you can tell, his offense is multi-layered, not the best because, you know, he doesn't really have a scary high-low, he doesn't really have high damage, and he doesn't really destroy you for existing. However, if he's able to get a counter hit 5H, counter hit 2H, or counter hit 6H, or close slash 6H is a rare occurrence, he can get a lot of damage, and that's what makes Axl scary. As you've been blocking him for most of the set, you don't even realise that your risk has been built up to a high degree. Meaning, as soon as you've been hit, Axl is one of the few zoners that can do a ton of damage. That's right. If he hits you with a mid, your life bar is disappearing, but if you get caught by a jump in or a low, you're fine. Don't get hit by a mid. Really do not get hit by a mid. This character will kill you for blocking mids. But a lot of his conversions come from stray hits and a lot of low damage situations, so he isn't that scary on paper. It's just when he gets those few scenarios. And his defense isn't really anything special. With the 2Ks getting nerfed, this is something that's worth noting for the players to basically deal with them. With 2Ks getting nerfed around the board, making it so they don't have that low profile, he doesn't really have easy defend tools. His 2K is still a good defend tool as a mash out of Barry, but he doesn't have a slip under attacks anymore. And he has to rely on his super, which is really bad now on block, like absurdly bad. You can land like a plus 80 move if you want when you jump the second attack. But here's some things you can bully about the matchup besides those things. If you want to do well into the matchup, you need to play more patiently than the Axl. Eventually he will crack under the pressure and make a mistake, because where he shines is in neutral. You have to remember, for Axl it's swapped. For neutral, it's a bit of a back and forth. For him, it's domination. He's supposed to win this is where he's fine. So if he makes a mistake here, he's made a mistake for the rest of the round, and that's the way you should see it. Compared to a character where when you make a mistake on offense, that's where you blow them up. Here, it's if he makes a mistake on neutral, blow him up. If you have a bar meter, use that for your get-ins. Don't use your meter for high, low, or strike throw offense. Save it for getting in, because you won't be getting in that often in this matchup. And if you've got meter spared, then use it for offense, but you want to save it for getting in because he crumbles under normal pressure. Hold off from jumping on mid-screen. It'll do you wonders. Honestly, doing dash block low will help you a ton. Even Potemkin with his faster walk speed is able to abuse this just by walking up and doing crouch blocking. So in the matchup, walk a little bit more, or dash a little bit more into a crouch block. For Leo, this is a struggle and this is what he bullies, but it's something that you need to do. And again, once you're in, bully away. Look out for the super, and that's about it, because you will find your openings and you will go hog wild. But we've come to the end. Axl Low is without a doubt a top tier hunter, as he bullies these characters specifically. Again, he bullies those slow or hard to commit characters, and that is why he's so strong with all the strengths that we mentioned. Is he going to do well in tournaments? I think he'll only do well if those tournaments consist of Leos, Potemkins, and Nagos. If there's a single gold Lewis, his run might be ruined, and if there's a Ram, he will struggle. But besides that, Axl's a pretty solid high tier this patch. Not absurd, not broken, but he will kill you if you are. And that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, hype, sub, and tell me what you thought about Axl. Do you think he's busted, or do you think I'm talking a whole load of shite? And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.